very good afternoon. Welcome to Premier League Live this Sunday for the final matches of 2024 as we get Matchday 19 underway. We're at the halfway point of the season and the table is starting to take shape. Well, today we start Matchday 19 with a match-up at the King Power Stadium as Leicester City, who are now in the bottom three, they host a Manchester City side who, on form since the start of November, they are bottom of the table. In terms of 3 o'clock kickoffs, 4 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon, and we'll keep it up to date with those right the way throughout the afternoon. And later on this evening, we watch West Ham host league leaders Liverpool, and Liverpool with the chance before Arsenal play on New Year's Day to go 9 points clear are Arne Slot's team. That's later on though, but now we watch a Leicester City team who, under Ruud van Nistelrooy since his appointment, have lost 3 of their 5 games under his charge. Those last 3 games they've conceded 3 or more goals on all 3 occasions, and they have yet to keep a clean sheet under his tenureship so far. For Manchester City, they couldn't be in worse form. 1 win in 13 Premier League games, the worst of Pep Guardiola's career. But a draw at home to Everton might just be one of those where they thought it could have been 2 points dropped a few months ago, but it's a big point gained at this form currently. For Manchester City, they haven't won away since October, so a big win today would be well needed. Let's have a look at the two teams then, and Leicester start with Stolarczyk, who got his first Premier League start at Anfield on Boxing Day. He starts in goal again after conceding 3 goals. A back 4 of James Justin, Connor Cody, Yannick Vestergaard and Christensen in defence. In midfield, Harry Winks is joined alongside Soumare in midfield, with El Khanous in the 10. Facundo Buonanotte off the right wing, Mavididi off the left wing, and Jimmy Vardy returns and captains a Leicester side inside the bottom 3. On the bench, Iverson, Okoli, Thomas, Chowdhury, Skip, Daka, Decordova-Reid, Alves and Brown. For Manchester City, it's Stefan Ortega in goal, no Edison in the starting 11 or on the bench today. A back 4 of Rico Lewis, Manuel Akanji, Nathan Ake and Josko Vardiol. Kovacic starts in the 6 in the defensive midfield role, with Kevin De Bruyne, the captain, starting this afternoon. Bernardo Silva joined alongside him in centre midfield. Foden off the left, Savinho off the right, and Erling Haaland. 1 goal in 7 Premier League games now for Erling Haaland, and he leads the line for Manchester City this afternoon. He's not the leading top goal scorer in the Premier League this week. Coming into this one. On the bench for City, Carson, Simpson, Puzzi, Walker, Grealish, Gundogan, McAtee, O'Reilly, Doku and Mubama. Manchester City desperately need 3 points. 3 points that would put them closer to a top 4, but they wouldn't get anywhere near that today. But if they lose, it could be looking down the table for the reigning champions of the Premier League. Kick-off at the King Power Stadium is next. A very good afternoon. Welcome to Premier League Live. Match day 19 of the Premier League, the halfway point of the season. And today we will have 6 Premier League games to keep you interested this Sunday afternoon. The 2:30 kickoff here, 4 3 o'clock kickoffs around the grounds at Sellers Park, at Goodison Park, at Craven Cottage and at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And then we head to East London a bit later on, a 5:15 kickoff as the league leaders Liverpool head to West Ham United. So, Leicester in their deep blue and City in their sky blue will get us going for this match week in the Premier League. It will be City captain Kevin De Bruyne that will kick us off in a moment. Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge of Leicester hasn't really got what he's wanted from his team so far in trying to stave off relegation. In recent form of 3 defeats in 3, and big defeats at that. 3-1 at Liverpool, 3-0 at home to Wolves, and that 4-0 drubbing away at Newcastle. Scored just 1 goal in those 3 games and conceded a total of 10. But if there's a team in current form that if Leicester would want to play at home, it would be a Manchester City side who I said haven't won away since October, when they had that late comeback away at Wolves back on the 20th of October. For 2 months since they got an away win, Manchester City. Let's see if they can change that this afternoon as Foden starts off the right hand side. Phil Foden, so wins City a throw. Early doors. It's only been their away form that's been bad for City. It's not been great at home either, with some big dropping of points. And of course for Manchester City, at the minute, it's all about salvaging what they can at the minute, with those injuries to the squad and the lack of confidence in the City team at the minute. It's all about getting positives where you can at the moment. Okay, Vardiol out to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva, who scored that great goal against Everton in Manchester City's last game on Boxing Day. And here comes Savinho, breaking off the left, breaking into the box, but run out of room did Savinho. Just that blistering pace off the left flank, just drove inside the midfield of Leicester, come charging through the box and ultimately run out of room as he tried to find a pass. Goes behind for a goal kick to the home side. Interestingly, Phil Foden starting off the right and Savinho off the left today. It's usually the other way around. We'll see whether that will kind of catch Leicester out. It looked like it might have early doors. Here's Ake. Well, one thing there hasn't been any question of is Manchester City's ability to hold possession. There's been no question over that. Possession has certainly not been one of the problems for City. It's about making something with that possession. Lewis. Nice play out to Foden on the right. Again, tried that ball down the line to De Bruyne, but well stopped by Christensen, the Leicester left back. We had a tough night at Anfield on Boxing Day against Mo Salah. Here's Bernardo Silva. Trying to chip it through the lines, and Kovacic with a heavy first touch allows Connor Cody to recover, and Cody knocks that one out for a City throw on the left hand side. Well, it's a Leicester defence now that, after the recent run of games, conceding 10 goals, that's a quarter of their goals they've conceded this season have come in the last 3 games alone. They've conceded 40 goals. No team has conceded more than Leicester this season. Wolves have conceded exactly the same amount of 40. As I said, 10 of those coming in the last 3, so a quarter of their goals have been conceded in their last 3 games. Here's Kovacic. Tried to play the ball to Rico Lewis. Intercepted, but not for long, as Kovacic wins it back, and De Bruyne will shoot, but shoots over the bar. Say it there. Kovacic tried to ball through to Lewis, and it did break away, and Leicester did intercept. It was smart interception, but again, just tried to pass a bit too quickly, Leicester, and they give the ball straight back to City, and De Bruyne, with that effort from the around about the edge of the box, just always rising over the bar, that one. Here's Harry Winks. Bit of Leicester possession now after around about 4.5 minutes. Here's Buonanotte. Now to Mavididi. And now out down the left hand side. Here's Steffi Mavididi. Trying to step across and just goes wide. They're trying to repeat what they did at Anfield, where Leicester there, they allowed the opponent to have possession for about 5 minutes, and then their first real good possession of the game, they break down the left hand side. Lovely work from Steffi Mavididi, just a step across, and as he comes in on that right hand side, you expect the net to bulge down the bottom right corner, but it just bobbles wide for a goal kick. It's almost kind of identical to how the game started at Anfield on Boxing Day, where Liverpool started really well in those first 5 minutes, and in the 6th minute, Leicester went up the other end and scored through Jordan Ayew. Of course, Jordan Ayew not involved today. Suspended for this one. There is that threat on the counter for Leicester, who have had 8% of possession so far in the first 6 minutes, so it shows how much dominance City have had in those early moments. Here's Ake. Now Vardiol. Back to Nathan Ake. Now Akanji, as Leicester trying to apply the press, and Akanji has to go back to Stefan Ortega. Well, Leicester aren't the only team that have a leaky defence at the moment. Manchester City conceded 26 goals in the league this season. It's not the worst defensive record, but City have failed to keep a clean sheet since that win against Forest. As that's a nice ball in behind. Haaland! Good save. Very good save by Stolarczyk. Almost perfect for City. Break down the right hand side. De Bruyne tried to cut it back to Haaland. Beautiful touch by Haaland, and then the strike, well smothered by the Leicester goalkeeper. Not having to dive too far. Certainly made a good save. Savinho looking for the cross. Well blocked. City starting to take a bit more control now in the final third. Starting to find the players they want. Erling Haaland, who had barely anything to talk about against Everton in the last home game. Barely knew he was on the pitch. His Kovacic tries to break away from midfield, but that's good covering by Connor Cody. He just rolled it back to his goalkeeper and reset for Leicester. Here's Soumare. Buonanotte trying to break back into his own box. They're under pressure. Here's Cody. Now Harry Winks. There's 3 City shirts around him, but he's cool and calm on the ball as Winks. And that's a nice play from Leicester out of the press as Justin breaks down the right hand side. Squares it across for Buonanotte. Trying to return it to James Justin, but that ball will be well marshalled and ushered out by Josko Vardiol for a goal kick. But again, another counter-attacking opportunity for Leicester. Initially, it was actually a really good move by City. Rico Lewis with a lovely fizz ball out to the right-hand side. De Bruyne made that run and he cut it back to Haaland, who just swiped it with his right foot first time. And a good save with his feet there from Stolarczyk to get it away from danger. That's the best chance of the game. And it's gone to the visitors in Manchester City. Here's Savinho. Under pressure from Buonanotte there. He's getting around the pitch. Facundo Buonanotte on loan from Brighton. The 20-year-old Argentine has scored 4 goals this season in the Premier League. As Facundo Buonanotte. Here's Vardiol. Now Foden. Spun out wide to De Bruyne. De Bruyne with a cross in again. And at the back post, Savinho tried to cross it, but again 2 overhits as Leicester calm and controlled in their passing. Breaking away now. Here's Mavididi. Breaks away from the midfield of City. Buonanotte now. Bodies running. Buonanotte through to Jamie Vardy, who goes round the keeper and gets taken out by Stefan Ortega. But the flag's going to go up against Jamie Vardy. Vardy in disagreement that he was offside from the referee Michael Oliver. We'll see it again. Yeah, to me, Leicester maybe a bit too late from Buonanotte, maybe a bit of an early run from Jamie Vardy. I think he might just be offside. If he's not offside, then he does have a claim, but I think the offside will stand, so no questions in the end there for the referee to answer. The decision was correct initially of an offside, but there is threat. Seen it a few times now where there is that Leicester threat on the counter. Although here's Kovacic breaking forward. Really good interception by Soumare. Although the referee's going to pull it back for a foul on Mateo Kovacic, and a free kick will go City's way. See it again, really good step in from Kovacic, and then Soumare stays with him, but kind of gets a grip on him halfway through, kind of pulls his right shoulder back, and that's where the referee, Michael Oliver, has seen a foul and has given Manchester City the free kick. Kevin De Bruyne, surely the favourite to take this, has scored an absolute screamer here at Leicester a few seasons ago, did Kevin De Bruyne. Let's see what De Bruyne can do from here. Back in the team with the armband. Can he make an impact? De Bruyne hits the wall. Up in the air it goes though, still in play. As Christensen was the first to react. Bernardo Silva recovers it, and El Khanous makes sure it was going nowhere but out for a Manchester City throw. Oh, Vardy intercepting from the City throw in, but the ball forward to Buonanotte was just overhit that from Jamie Vardy. There certainly is that counter-attacking threat from Leicester. And with Jamie Vardy back in the team, the king of the counter-attack, the king of making runs off the back of defenders and timing it to perfection, more often than not, Jamie Vardy, the senior veteran here at the King Power Club. And Leicester again intercepting really well against Man City. As Christensen give it back to his keeper, who knocks it long. And that ball will escape anyone in field and will go out for a City throw. But that's the type of thing that Leicester need to do today. Be intense out of possession. They need to press City and well and intercept those passes. Make sure that City can't get into their rhythm and into their flow of the game, because that's when they can massively hurt you. Of course they can hurt you in many different ways, but most certainly when they're not in their best confidence, City, their most threatening moments are kind of when they get into their rhythm, when they know exactly where they need to be at the right times, and when they get that momentum in the game. That's when you're under real kind of threat. As long as Leicester keep breaking up possession, not allowing City to settle into that rhythm, then they do certainly keep themselves in a competitive fight. Winks, nice ball through the lines to El Khanous. Lovely ball spread out wide to Justin. Buonanotte's going to make the run on the outside. Here is Facundo Buonanotte. Back to Soumare. Leicester, at the moment, just want to keep possession in Manchester City's half. Vestergaard. To Connor Cody. Now Soumare. Into Justin, who kept himself forward there, James Justin, in an attacking area. Winks. Christensen. Had to force that one in behind, did Christensen. Victor Christensen, and well overhit from the Dane. Goal kick City. Well, the question mark will be for Ruud van Nistelrooy this season in trying to save Leicester after they sacked Steve Cooper. Will they be able not only to compete, but will they be able to compete consistently in the relegation fight? You know, now that for the first time this season we have all three newly promoted sides in the bottom three, albeit with a good result today, Leicester can keep the pressure on the teams above them. But is this the turning point where we see that maybe just the quality of those newly promoted sides maybe just isn't there? Maybe it's just a step too far for those teams at the moment to compete. Although that's nice play in behind. Again, Jamie Vardy calls of offside from Ake, but Vardy's trying to do little turnovers in and around the area, but step overs. And again, I think he might have been offside again there, Jamie Vardy, which he's not too happy with. Again, he's offside, just offside. Ake is the last man for City, and he is about a yard offside there, Jamie Vardy, so no questions. But again, it's the second time where Leicester have really got in and around City and got Jamie Vardy into a good area. For the offside, he could have been massively involved in two big moments for Leicester. Don't forget though, 4 3 o'clock kickoffs. We'll have all the scores at the bottom of your screen, as we did on Boxing Day, and we'll keep you up to date with the scorelines from all those other games that are kicking off at 3 o'clock in the Premier League. And we'll keep you up to date with the storyline, the headlines of all what can happen, because there's some big storylines in those 3 o'clockers. Nottingham Forest could go, if they beat Everton at Goodison Park, they could jump to second before both Arsenal and Chelsea play in the next coming days. Lovely interception by Soumare on De Bruyne. Other headlines, of course, coming from that. Southampton could close the gap on the teams above them if they win away at Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace can open that gap to the teams below them if they win. Fulham and Bournemouth, I wouldn't say overperforming, but certainly performing at a very high level at this moment in time. They could certainly keel themselves up the table. Both could end up in 5th by the end of today if results go their way, and if they win. And Spurs, a much needed victory for Spurs. They would need at home to Wolves this afternoon, who also need a big victory as they are teetering on the edge of the relegation zone as well. Our Wolves have picked up 2 wins from 2 of Wolves under the new manager Vitor Pereira, including that victory against Manchester United on Boxing Day. So lots of storylines from our 4 3 o'clock kickoffs, and we'll keep you to date with all of those and the goals going in as well. Here is Christensen. Soumare back to Victor Christensen for Leicester. Trying to be a bit more competitive in possession of Leicester. As that ball in behind for Vardy again. He actually is going to leave it for Justin, who's breaking through, but that's a very good cover by Joshua Vardiol. Got across in double quick time when he spotted Justin was the threat. Leicester get the throw. Winks in midfield and forced back to his defence. Under pressure from City, but here's Cody. Will thump it over the top again. Vardiol in a battle. Gives it back to the keeper, but Vardy intercepts. And it's a good save by Stefan Ortega. That could have been a head and hands moment for Joshua Vardiol. You never head back to your goalkeeper when Jamie Vardy's lurking. Lack of awareness from Joshua Vardiol completely. Thinks he's got James Justin covered. He does, but he just heads it back to his keeper. Completely underhits the header. And Jamie Vardy nicks in and almost snatches a goal from nothing there. Great save by Stefan Ortega to put it behind for the corner. But that could have been so much worse for Joshua Vardiol. Leicester get the first corner of the game. Whip to the back post, but there's going to be a foul for Manchester City anyway, so it would have been a goal kick from the corner directly anyway, so doesn't really matter. Free kick to City. That's a huge moment though. That chance. I said that at times that's the threat. They've balled in behind. Those counter-attacking opportunities for Leicester is where they're going to get at Manchester City. And the marauding fullback in James Justin charging in behind and putting the pressure on his opposing fullback in Joshua Vardiol and ultimately forcing a mistake that could have been catastrophic. Lewis, nice ball into Foden. Foden will hit one from distance. Good save by Stolarczyk, but the follow-up is in by Savinho. The long-range effort from Foden had the keeper scrambling. The keeper couldn't smother it. He threw it right back into the path of Savinho, who was there to finish quite emphatically for Manchester City. A team that haven't won away from home in over 2 months. In the last 8 away games, just 1 draw. But they have an early lead here at the King Power Stadium after they could have been very easily behind just minutes ago. Again, it's really good combination play in the midfield by City. And then it's Foden, sees that little gap, opens up the shot. And the keeper, I'm not wanting to really throw shade at the keeper, but you got to. The keeper kind of palms it right back into the path of Savinho. It's not great from the goalkeeper point of view. And that is a huge goal for Manchester City and a huge goal for Savinho as well. Leicester 0, Manchester City 1. And a much needed goal for the visitors. As I said, their away record recently has been quite torrid. And that is Savinho's first ever for Manchester City. That's why it was so important to him. And some can say those type of situations, you can tap them in, you can roll them in. But Savinho wanted to make sure that his first goal for City would be in the highlights reel. And it was a wonderful finish. Tight angle into the top corner. Vardiol tried the ball over the top to De Bruyne. It's a bit too overhit and it will bounce out for a goal kick. And that's now got the away fans going at the King Power Stadium. A win for Manchester City today would put them back up into 5th in the Premier League table. They'd be on 31 points. And they would be just 3 points off top 4. But also all those teams above them will have to play this weekend still. So a lot of work to do if City are to keep getting back on track. Soumare trying to go over the top to the run of El Khanous that time. But well easily kept out by City. Although Leicester have the ball back again. El Khanous. Mavididi. Back to Harry Winks. Just listening in. I said those City fans certainly have found their voices. Well, I don't know if they're taking the mickey out of Leicester a bit, or whether they're just genuinely taking the mickey out of their own team. But they've started singing, "We're staying up, we're staying up." City are staying up. I mean, I don't think it's got quite that bad for Manchester City, but a bit tongue-in-cheek from the visiting fans. Even at their worst point, they have been quite a distance of the relegation battle. They've been, at any point, around 13 points clear of relegation. I don't think that was ever a question. Although some would say maybe it's not their performances that will get them relegated, but we'll not go there. Not the day to talk about that. Here's Cody. Stolarczyk. Certainly that goal hasn't kind of flattened Leicester. Certainly kept endeavoured in their approach. Akanji to Kovacic. Well, one good thing for Manchester City, albeit there hasn't been much good to talk about as of recently with the many injuries and the recent results, but the one good thing is their form against Leicester. They have been in very good form, especially away from home at Leicester. Leicester have lost in the last 4 occasions in the Premier League at home to Manchester City. At all of those occasions, they've failed to score in those games. 3 1-0 wins for City and a 2-0 win in their last 4 visits to the King Power Stadium in the Premier League. Last time Leicester beat City at home was a 2-1 win back in December 2018 on Boxing Day, and it was Mark Albrighton and Ricardo Pereira with the goals. It was a red card for City in that one. Fabian Delph got a red card, and Bernardo Silva was on the score sheet for City that day. Very different Leicester team back then, though. Here's James Justin. To Winks. Leicester's recent form against City isn't only not great at home. I'll get to that in a moment, actually, because here comes De Bruyne. Nice, Savinho down the left. Trying to find a way through as to turn back to Bernardo Silva. Now Kovacic. Now out again to Savinho on this left flank. Try and go for the cross. Well blocked by Justin. And it will end up going out. Will be a Manchester City corner. Their first of the game. After 26 minutes. As I was saying, it's not only their home form that isn't great for Leicester away from home as well against City. They haven't won a game against Manchester City in the Premier League since September 2020. When they won away at the Etihad 5-2, they won on that occasion. City have won all the games since, home and away. 5 of their last 5. Home and away against Leicester. The only win for Leicester in that little period of time was in the Community Shield when they beat them by 1-0 in August of 2021. Leicester, but of course that wasn't here or at the Etihad, that was at Wembley. Vardiol into Bernardo Silva, looking for a ball across, gets it, and Haaland straight at the goalkeeper. It wasn't the paciest of crosses from Bernardo Silva, it was more of a looped cross, more of a kind of a little bit of a looping one, and Haaland really couldn't create the power on the header. Got the direction on it, just couldn't find the pace to take it past Delarsic. Difficult one for even Erling Haaland to take from that position. That's lovely from Harry Winks, and there's space on this right side for Leicester. Justin wants to try and beat the goalkeeper. That's an optimistic one, if I do say so myself. I don't think that was ever going to test Stefan Ortega. I mean, there's optimistic and then there's that. Have to be honest with that one. Akanji. Now out to De Bruyne. He will go long. Look for the switch to Savinho. He's on the chase. Takes it down, does Savinho. On the left flank. Back to Vardiol. Out it wide again to Bernardo Silva. He will chop back to Joško Vardiol. Kovacic. Has to come back to Akanji as City continue in the Leicester half. Again, have had more possession than Leicester, but certainly not the over 90% that they had in the first couple of minutes of the game. 57% of the ball for Manchester City so far. It's not complete control and dominance. Still enough to get them that lead so far as Foden over the top. De Bruyne goes down, wanting a penalty. The referee says no, and he points for a goal kick. See it again. Foden with the ball over the top. De Bruyne makes the run in behind with Soumare and Vestergaard in the mix there. Yeah, and De Bruyne goes down far too easily, in my opinion. He's waiting for the contact. Vestergaard has his foot on the floor, so I mean, he doesn't try and get at Kevin De Bruyne whatsoever, and that's certainly not a foul or a penalty. Buonanotte on the turn finds Soumare. Now Christensen. Good move by Leicester. Here's Mamadidi. Christensen gets kind of lost in the midfield there. Lost the ball for a second. And City have time to recover. 30 minutes gone. Leicester 0, Manchester City 1. As it comes out here on the right hand side to Foden. Back to Lewis and all the way back to Akanji. As we're about to get underway in our 3 o'clockers in the Premier League. 4 3 o'clock games for you this afternoon. Of course, they are all 30 minutes behind where we are, but we'll keep up to date with all of those games right the way through the afternoon and bring you live updates and goals from around the grounds as they happen for you this afternoon. So there you are, at the bottom of your screen. The goals will update as and when. And of course, don't forget that 5:15 game as well at the London Stadium as West Ham take on Liverpool in that late game this Sunday afternoon, as the league leaders could go at 9 points clear of second place Arsenal, who've retrieved second place after their victory against Ipswich on Friday night. 1-0 win away at Ipswich. Not been all good for Arsenal. Bukayo Saka possibly out for a matter of a few months, quite a number of weeks certainly, after receiving surgery on a hamstring. Issue that has been ongoing for Bukayo Saka for a while now. So without their talismanic right winger for Arsenal, but we'll see what Liverpool can do later on against West Ham United. Nice play by Leicester in the tight spaces. Lovely ball forward by Cody. Lovely flick by El Kanous. Soumaré does well in adjusting. Here's Buonanotte. Now Mavididi from Leicester. Down the left flank. Taking bodies with him. Mavididi has to try and come back in field and does give it back to Christensen. Didn't want to go for the cross there, Steffi Mavididi. Leicester willing to keep possession for the moment. Just about kept in there by Harry Winks. Buonanotte. Sorry, El Kanous, apologies. And up across there, cuts it back to Justin. Now Winks in the middle. Soumaré, now out wide to El Kanous, who will whip the cross in, and it's all the way through and out the other end. There was 3 Leicester players arriving. Buonanotte and Jamie Vardy were the 2 main threats. Justin was there as well, and not a single one of them could get a touch on it. Beautiful cross by El Kanous into that corridor danger, as we call it, right across the 6-yard box. Buonanotte, Justin and Vardy all couldn't get near it, and it rolls behind for a goal kick, but better from Leicester. But nothing to show for it, shall we say. Lewis to Vardiol. Savinho battling, running into dead space as he gives the ball away, and Buonanotte tried to keep the ball moving, but it's going to be pulled back here for a Leicester free kick on foul on Vardy. Referee was allowing a advantage to be played there, but has pulled it back for the free kick to the Foxes. Cody. Buonanotte. Back to Vestergaard and Connor Cody again. Not a great ball by Vestergaard. Has to go back to his keeper, does Cody. Again, they're tidy in possession, Leicester. As I say that, Buonanotte gives the ball away, but they do have that ability to play the ball first time. Those one-touch passes. Certainly able to break through the lines of Manchester City at the moment, are Leicester. Here's Christensen. Nice ball down the left-hand side for El Kanous to try and find Mavididi. I think the ball had just crossed the sideline there as the ball was played forward, so throw into City. Just seeing the replay of the Manchester City goal, and we just watched Savinho was acres of space in the build-up to that goal on the left-hand flank. His fullback is nowhere near him. James Justin is almost playing as a third centre-back as Vardiol gives it away cheaply, but El Kanous can't make anything of it, and Kovacic steps in. Here's Haaland now. First real run of the day for Erling Haaland. Trying to break through. Look, lovely from Haaland. Missed the target. Absolutely wonderful play. Beautiful footwork by Erling Haaland. See it again. Kovacic wins it back, and Haaland just breaks away from Soumaré, drags Vestergaard wide, and then chops back inside both Soumaré and Vestergaard. And as he checks the shot, it kind of just dragged wide. by Erling Haaland. He's targeting that bottom right corner, and he just drags it slightly wide of the post. Wonderful footwork by Haaland. Not accurate enough there on the finish. And that's where we see him. He had 10 goals in his first 5 league games of the season, but has had 3 since, and they've come in the last 13 games. Shot conversion of less than 7% for Erling Haaland compared to over 38% in the first 5 games. Still 13 goals this season, which is not a bad return, but compared to Erling Haaland's standards, it is nowhere near where he can get to. Sees him now 3 goals off Mo Salah. Mo Salah, the Premier League leading goal scorer at the moment, with 16 goals. That's lovely play by Buonanotte again, and Vardy wanted to be called offside. Justin! Good shot, good save by Ortega. I think the flag might have went up against Vardy anyway there. I think that's what the referee was calling, but he's played on because City win the ball back. And here's Kovacic now. Try to find Bernardo Silva, a bit loose, but does keep it in, does Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne. Less than 10 minutes to go of the first half. Leicester 0, Manchester City 1. Savinho's first goal for Manchester City, as Manchester City's only goal of the afternoon so far. And the only goal of the afternoon here, because there has been a goal elsewhere from what I'm hearing, and it has come in North London, and it has gone, it's between Tottenham and Wolves, and it has gone the way of the side that are on the teetering edge of the relegation zone. It is Wolves that have taken the lead. The new manager bounce in full force for Wolves at the moment. Under Vito Pereira, he's won 2 on the bounce, and his team have taken a lead away at Tottenham. He-Chan Huang with the goal. He got the second against Manchester United on Boxing Day, and he's got the first for Wolves against Tottenham today. 1-0. To Wolves. Leicester come forward. The ball across the box. Vardy can't get it away. Justin, his header's deflected. Buonanotte off the post and cleared away. Number of chances for Leicester there, and City clinging on for dear life as they come away with Haaland now. Haaland rolls it in behind for Foden. Foden trying to find it back across for Erling Haaland, but the header well marshalled by the Leicester defence. And a bit of life sprung into Leicester here after those last few moments of a couple of gilt-edged chances. Here they come again, down the left-hand side with El Khanous. Into Sumari, out wide again it goes to Mavididi, who will cross it. Mavididi trying to find Buonanotte, but well kept out by Vardy. Still alive as Sumari on the turn. Plays it to El Khanous. And Christensen. Now Mavididi again down the left. Takes on Lewis. Wants a step back across as Mavididi's cross into the middle is into the hands of Stefan Ortega. Again, certainly been a few nervy moments for Man City in this first half. Again, it's El Khanous. He gets the ball across the box, and City just a bit too lethargic to get anywhere near it. The cross comes in, Justin has his header blocked, and it bounces down, and then the header, I think it's Buonanotte that heads it right off the post and cleared away in the end by City. But a few good opportunities there for Leicester, of which they have created a few in this first half. Certainly caused a few scares to Manchester City. Vardy. De Bruyne. Back infield to Kovacic. Now Akanji. Out in the right hand side it comes to Foden. Back to Manuel Akanji. Look for another route forward. Finds Vardy to the left. 5 minutes to go of the half. Out to De Bruyne on the left flank. Up against Buonanotte, who got back there and won the ball back off Kevin De Bruyne. Buonanotte thumps it away. Trying to find Vardy, but well dealt with by the two City centre-backs, Inake and Akanji. Lewis. Kovacic. Now Josko Vardiol into Haaland, who's dropped a bit deeper, linking up with De Bruyne, but again, a bit too forced, that pass back by De Bruyne, and well intercepted by El Khanous. Lovely turn by Mavididi. Turned into danger and turned into a foul on Mateo Kovacic. Free kick Leicester. In the last 10 minutes, it's been dominant possession from Leicester, over 66% possession from Leicester. They've had the only shot on target in the last 10 minutes. Certainly in the ascendancy towards the end of this first half of the home side. Here's Mavididi again, up against Lewis. Looking for an option. Can't find one. Cuts it back to Christensen, who will drive infield himself, trying to link it up, but his pass blocked out by Bernardo Silva. One back by Justin. Winks. Now Vestergaard out wide again to Mavididi. Another goal to tell you about in a moment. Christensen to Mavididi. Let's see what happens in this Leicester attack. Still continue on that left flank. Have to come back to Vestergaard. On the turn is Soumare. Now out to Mavididi. A bit of pace now. Into Soumare again. Trying to cross it. Blocked by Kanji. Corner for Leicester. Their patience ultimately working out for them. Well, we know what to expect when we go to North London, when we watch a game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We know there's very rarely that either team playing in the game will keep a clean sheet, and that's the case again today. It is an equaliser from Tottenham. It is 1-1 in North London. Spurs back on terms. Leicester looking to do the same from the corner. It's cleared away at the front post, although De Bruyne gets an absolute shank on that one. It will go behind for another corner. As I was saying, Spurs equalising. Rodrigo Bentancur with the goal to level things up. But again, it's what you expect. Spurs at this moment. Another deep cross from the corner. Over the head of, cleared away by Nathan Ake. Into the last 2 minutes of the half. Manchester City still leading by that goal to nil. Vardiol. Well, I talked about the form of Manchester City this season, especially on the road. They had a very good start to the season. They won 5 of their first 6 away games this season in all competitions. Sorry, 4 of their first 5 away games in all competitions, apologies. But as I said, have lost 7 of the last 8 in all competitions. And have kept just 2 clean sheets away from home this season of Manchester City. Away at Slovan Bratislava in the Champions League, and away at Chelsea on the opening day of the Premier League season. So they haven't kept an away clean sheet in the league since early August. Of the reigning champions. 30 seconds to go with the first 45. And they, at the moment, are leading by that goal to nil and keeping a clean sheet on the road. It's uncharted territory at the moment, it seems, for Manchester City. In recent times, anyway. As Justin will take this through in for Leicester. Another goal to tell you about, and it could be quite significant. A goal from those 3 o'clock games. As we'll find out the added time here first as Soumare gives it away. Bernardo Silva to Haaland, who has to do a bit of adjusting on the turn. Bernardo Silva. Too many passes on Kovacic's shot as well wide. Too many passes there for Manchester City. With a glorious chance, Soumare turned to the trouble in De Bruyne. Bernardo Silva just plays it forward. Haaland maybe a bit behind the ball, has to turn it back to Silva, and Silva doesn't shoot. He decides to pass, and Leicester recover in time. But too many passes. Just didn't want to shoot there, Manchester City, whatsoever. Another goal to tell you about, as I said, a significant one at the bottom of the table, because it is another visiting relegation battler that has taken the lead in the capital. It is Southampton that have gone ahead away at Crystal Palace. I said this would be a big result for Southampton today. If they were to win, they would close the gap on the teams above them and certainly reignite their hopes of getting out of that relegation zone. It would only be their second win of the season. Tyler Dibbling with that goal. As we have just hit the half-time whistle at the King Power Stadium. Just one added minute in that first half. And we have played that one added minute, so we're at half-time. And a first-half lead, for the first time in a while, for Manchester City. A first half where Leicester certainly have been competitive and certainly had a few chances to level the game and even take the lead earlier in the game. But it is Savinho's first goal for Manchester City. It has the visitors ahead at the break. Leicester 0, City 1. And analysis and updates from around the 3 o'clock games on the way in just a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half time at the King Power Stadium. It is Leicester 0, Manchester City 1. At the break, Savinho's goal has City ahead at the break. And speaking of ahead, we have another goal to tell you about, and it is another away team that have taken the lead. This time it is at Goodison Park. Nottingham Forest have taken the lead. Nottingham Forest, who are in roaring form at the moment, absolute incredible form at the moment, and they are winning away at Everton. Chris Wood, who's been on fire this season for Forest, and he at the moment has that goal, and at the moment that would put Nottingham Forest up to second in the Premier League table. Forest would be their 11th win of the season, so they would have only 2 less wins than Liverpool if they were to win that one. No other team has as many wins as Forest if they are to convert that, of course, into wins. They will be on 37 points, just 5 points off the league leaders, albeit Liverpool still to play and have a game in hand, so all that said. But at the moment, Nottingham Forest, maybe not extravagant in their football, but they're certainly getting the job done at the moment. And Chris Wood with another incredible goal, an incredible form. The 33-year-old Kiwi has Nottingham Forest ahead. His 11th Premier League goal of the season for Chris Wood. And he has Forest ahead. So there's about 19 minutes gone in all of those 3 o'clock kickoffs. So we're still a long way to go in the first half in all of those, but a couple of early goals in those 3 o'clockers. Still no goals between Fulham and Bournemouth so far. 2 sides who at the moment are overperforming, shall we say, or performing to a very good level at the moment. Bournemouth in 6th, Fulham in 8th. Bournemouth or Fulham, either team would win today, they would go up to 5th in the table with a victory. But it is goalless there at the moment. At half time at the King Power Stadium, we'll round up the first half then from the King Power, and we'll keep the date with the scores elsewhere as we talk through. But a first half where, again, I think Leicester can be very happy with that first half, as they probably could have been against Liverpool at Anfield, where they, albeit Liverpool were kind of battling and got that late equaliser, but Leicester could have been proud with their first half performance, holding Liverpool and taking the lead in that one. I think a very different aspect in this one. They've been bright, they've looked confident, they've looked controlled in possession. I think their counter-attack has been the main threat, and obviously the main threat against Manchester City this afternoon. But they've also done well in possession, Leicester, and this is another thing that now, previously, with a fear factor over Manchester City, teams would sit off, they would drop back, they would sit deep, they would put 10 behind the ball and wait and allow Manchester City to have all the possession they wanted and just try and kind of stifle them in and around the box. Now, we've seen that work at times against Manchester City, but today we've seen a different approach from Leicester. I mean, at half-time, the possession is almost 50-50, so that shows the kind of approach that Leicester have taken in that first half, is the fact that they've not allowed Manchester City to have it all their own way. They've competed, they've stepped up, they've pressed in areas where they've felt that they could have got the ball, and they've pressed in really good areas. Their midfield has been strong in those tight spaces and those intricate little passes to keep the possession, Leicester. All key attributes you need to have when you're playing against Manchester City and you want to compete against City. You need to compete in midfield, but you also need to have that control as well in possession, not feel under pressure, not kind of collapse under a bit of pressure, under a bit of a press, which you usually see from teams in and around the relegation zone, where they try and play out or they try and play in possession and a little bit of a press, and they kind of panic and fall apart. But being the opposite from Leicester in that first half, I think they've been very controlled in possession. But talking about the leaders at the moment, because a lot of talk about Leicester, but Manchester City, I don't think they've been too bad. I think they've actually been quite good in that first half. I think the goal was well taken. I think it was a good idea from Phil Foden to take that shot from distance, seeing the keeper not really set, not really kind of anticipating the shot from distance. It kind of caught the keeper off guard. Ultimately, maybe that whole chance of him being caught off guard ultimately led to the keeper palming it wide and into the path of Savinho, not taking away from the finish whatsoever. Absolutely wonderful finish by Savinho. Right place, right time and all that. But I do think Phil Foden, maybe a bit of confidence, got his first goal of the season, maybe just that little bit of confidence brimming from him at the moment, getting back into form, and that little help. The shot from distance caused a bit of panic, caused a bit of confusion, and it ultimately led to the opening goal with a wonderful finish from a tight angle from Savinho against the keeper, who looked a bit flustered. But a first half with chances at both ends. Manchester City probably have had one or two chances to maybe double their lead, Erling Haaland on a few occasions, but I do think Leicester have certainly been competitive in the game to try and find an equaliser. Even they could have taken the lead early in the game. Those runs in behind from Jamie Vardy have been very threatening. At times a couple of offsides, but it shows you that that's a threat. That's where they want to target Manchester City. Leicester in behind, over the top, those counter-attacking moves, and they've made a few good chances. They've hit the post. They've forced a few good saves off Stefan Ortega in that first half of Leicester, so they can be positive, very positive about their first half display. But at the moment, it is them that trail, and that is an issue. Has been an issue for Leicester. Not scored more than one goal in the last 3 games. Since Ruud van Nistelrooy's taken charge, they've scored 6 goals in his 5 games in charge. 3 against West Ham, 2 against Brighton, both at home games, and their only goal away from home was at Anfield on Boxing Day. But it's basically about Leicester trying to keep in the fight, in a sense, in that second half. And a second goal, you would have to feel, would have to come from Leicester if they're going to keep it alive. A 2-0 goal lead for City would feel like a bit of an ending of this game, and a bit of an ending of Leicester in trying to come back. But you never know. You never know. But a second goal for City would be very welcomed from Pep Guardiola and his team, who are desperately in need of a victory at this moment in time, and to try and keep tabs with those above them in the table. Still no other goals to tell you about. We'll just recap the goals from those other games at the moment. Crystal Palace trailing by a goal to nil home to Southampton. A Southampton team rock bottom of the table, just 6 points from their first 18 league games of the season coming into this one. Just 1 win in 18 games for the Saints. Ivan Juric under the new manager in charge at Southampton. He narrowly lost out to West Ham on Boxing Day in his first game in charge of the Saints. But they have not been conceding as many goals in recent times, have Southampton, and that's continuing in the first half as they lead by 1-0. Tyler Dibbling with that goal. A win for Southampton would mean they would be back within 3 points of Ipswich. Of course, Ipswich to play tomorrow, and just 5 points off Leicester, who are currently losing, and 7 points off Wolves, who are currently drawing away at Spurs. So they wouldn't be out dead in the water just yet, Southampton, but a win would be much welcomed away at Crystal Palace. One of those other fellow battlers in the relegation fight at the moment are Crystal Palace under Oliver Glasner, who they would love a big win at home against Southampton to try and open that gap. At the moment, that's not going that way. Same for another possible relegation battler in Everton at Goodison Park, who are also trailing by 1-0 in the first half. Nottingham Forest having the lead through Chris Wood. Forest high flying at the moment, up to second with a win this afternoon. Everton would be just 3 points off the drop zone if they were to lose this afternoon to Nottingham Forest. But recent form for Everton is actually quite good. In the last 4 games, they've been unbeaten, and they've won 3 of those and drawn one of those, and drawn 3. Those 3 draws recently have come at Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester City. Away games in 2 of those games away at Arsenal and Man City. Big results for Everton at the moment, but they are losing at home. Still goalless between Fulham and Bournemouth. As I said, either team wins this afternoon, they will go up to 5th in the Premier League table. Fulham on 29 points as it stands with a draw. A win would bring them on to 31 points, but it would depend on how much they win by to battle with City for that 5th place. If City keep winning, if Bournemouth are to win, then they would go above Manchester City no matter what happens at the King Power, because they will have more points than Manchester City. They will be on 32. So that's goalless at the moment. And the other game, which is a draw, but a score draw, it's the most Tottenham thing at the moment of those games. You know that when there's a game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, both teams are more often than not going to score, and that is the case once again. It only took 7 minutes to get the first goal. Hee-Chan Hwang with his second in 2 games after he got that second goal against Man United on Boxing Day. He's got the opener for Wolves away at Spurs, but it didn't take long for Spurs to respond with Rodrigo Bentancur with the equalising goal. It is 1-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. With about less than 20 minutes to go in the first half there. In all of those 3 o'clock games, 4 goals and a 0-0 as well on the cards at the moment. Some interesting championship games just to bring you up to date with before we get away for the second half. Not many goals in that one. Bristol City leading Portsmouth by 0-0. Luton 1 up away at Swansea. Cardiff 1 up away at Watford at the moment. In the Scottish Premiership, it is goalless between Celtic and St Johnstone. Rangers 1-0 down away at Motherwell after they lost to St Mirren away from home on Boxing Day. Rangers, they are trailing once again. Hearts are 1 up away at Ross County, and it is Hibernian 1, Kilmarnock 0 at the moment. Right, the second half between Leicester and Manchester City, where it is the visitors leading by 1-0, is on the way next. Do stay with us. welcome back to Premier League Live, the second half at the King Power Stadium, on the way in just a moment. Don't forget, another game to come for you a bit later on this afternoon as West Ham United take on Liverpool, the league leaders, at 5:15. Liverpool wouldn't go 9 points clear of second at the moment if they were to win later on. If Forest are to win, then that gap would be 8 points if Liverpool were to win later on. It's minimal difference, but it is a big difference when it comes to the Premier League table, who Liverpool could be leading by the end of the day. Right, so the second half almost ready to get underway at the King Power between Leicester and Manchester City. Two teams at the moment who are in desperate need of a win, and we'll surely see that intensity and pressure at times in the second half, I am sure, as City are about to come out for the second half. We have a goal to tell you about at Selhurst Park. I said that would be a huge victory for Southampton if they were able to get it. Well, more often than not, the answer to those questions of Southampton getting victories is a no, and at the moment they have been pegged back once again. Crystal Palace weren't going to lie down and let Southampton take control. It is Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 1. Trevor Chalobah with the equaliser for Crystal Palace. Also Celtic have taken the lead against St Johnstone, which would mean if Celtic were to win and Rangers were to lose, Celtic would be 15 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership. But we'll keep an eye on all of that action in the second half and later on as we get back underway at the King Power Stadium for the second 45 between Manchester City and Leicester, where, as I said, both teams need a win for their respective fights at either ends of the table. And City, I think their next target is a second goal and giving themselves a bit of breathing room here on the road. They've just strafed offside there, has Kevin De Bruyne, so free kick to Leicester. Well, one thing for Leicester is about key moments in games. They conceded in key moments at Anfield on Boxing Day. They conceded just before half-time and just after half-time on Boxing Day did Leicester. And that second goal at the start of the second half that they conceded against Liverpool was to be the turning point, and a point where Liverpool just turned the screw and ultimately ended up winning. The second goal for Leicester would be even more damaging if they were to concede it early in the second half here. At the moment, be a huge relief to Manchester City if they were to get a second. They've scored more than once on the road, just once in the last 8 away games, and that was away at Crystal Palace, where they have picked up their only point in this barren run away from home. So more likely than anything, City, if they do get a second, they will be, based on the recent form, guaranteed something out of the game at the very least, as Buonanotte is fouled there in the middle. So free kick around about the halfway line for Leicester City. Vestergaard to Christensen. I'm Mavididi. Has to go back to Yannick Vestergaard. Again, a lot of invention needed. Lovely ball by Vestergaard through the lines. Here is Soumare. Mavididi, first time over the top, looking for El Canouse on the run, but Akanji quick on the scene and puts it out for a Leicester throw. Excuse me. It's also what we've seen from Leicester is that, as I said in that first half, that first touch, you know, taking the pass on the first touch, moving the ball quick with pace, with power, and kind of with intention, and not just hitting it hopelessly to a target knowing where the ball's going, keeping it moving, and keeping Man City on their toes in and around possession. Here's Mavididi down the left. That's the turn back to Christensen. Just as it looked like the space might have been opening up for him. As they come around the other way now, Leicester at the other side. Cody. Justin. Back to Connor Cody again. Leicester's just looking to keep the possession for the moment. One thing I do like about Leicester and what I've seen this afternoon is they're not forcing the issue. They're patient in their approach. They're waiting for the right moments. Not forcing the passes of the play. Happy to keep it with their centre-backs or their defenders until they get a moment. Nice run by Christensen. Opens a bit of space for Cody now. Down the right for Justin. Closed off by Vardiol, but Leicester keep the ball. Christensen. Down the left-hand side is Mavididi. Sumari into El Canouse. Mavididi has to go back to Vestergaard. Now Christensen. Just coming up to 5 minutes gone in the second half, and Leicester have certainly come out with that intention of keeping the ball in the second half. They've had more of it, and here it is in behind El Canouse to Facundo Buonanotte. Chops back, gets taken out, and it's gonna be a corner to Leicester. Facundo Buonanotte. See this again. It's nice play by El Canouse in behind for Buonanotte, who takes Ake tries to take him down the line, and as he tries to chop back Buonanotte, he felt that he was fouled by Ake. There's not much contact in it, to be fair. It's a little bit of contact, but certainly not enough. It will be a corner though to throw-in, sorry, to Leicester on this left side. Certainly not a penalty. A few penalty shouts so far in the game, but all correctly waved away by the referee. Here's El Canouse though on the run. Not giving up yet, Leicester. Cut it back. Bernardo Silva on the block and clears it away. Good pressure by Leicester. Responding well as their manager watches on in Ruud van Nistelrooy. Christensen. Sumari had to stretch for that one, and maybe a bit of a loose pass by Leicester. And they've given away a free kick there as El Canouse commits a foul on Phil Foden. So free kick to Man City on the halfway line. The away fans now maybe feeling a bit of nerves and just supporting their side at the moment. After that little spell of attack from Leicester. They'll certainly come out in the second half inspired to get back on terms in this game. As Ortega knocks it out to Bernardo Silva on the left side. Good distribution from the City keeper. Kovacic right up the middle to Savinho. Right to the left for Bernardo Silva. Kovacic. Lewis. Now to Manuel Akanji. Out to Foden on the right hand side, who will take a run forward, but nice interception by Mavididi. Trying to spin his way past Foden. Does really well in taking the pass to El Canouse, who might have got himself in a bit of bother if he didn't use his skills to break away and play a lovely pass to Justin. Beautiful switch ball by El Canouse. Now another switch ball. Mavididi takes it on the first touch. Takes him very deep into the middle, but he skips his way past Kovacic. Buonanotte back to Mavididi. Not the space. El Canoose with his shot over the bar. Certainly inspiration, energy, and a lot of endeavour from Leicester at the minute. Not afraid to try things, not afraid to take risks, and not afraid to hit it from distance. Certainly not. The home fans feel their side are doing enough to battle here. They're getting behind their team now. Here's Lewis in the central area. Finds it out to Bernardo Silva on the left. To Savinho. Need to be careful, Leicester, as well, though. With all their attack and all their threat up front, they need to be wary of the City attack, as here comes De Bruyne. Now Foden spins one in. Headed down by Bernardo Silva. And over the top it goes by Vestergaard for a corner to Manchester City. Really good diagonal plays from City. Right across the kind of the edge of the box, and then Foden with a nice whipped cross to the back post. And Haaland missed his header, but Bernardo Silva got involved and made it a bit of a scramble. And Vestergaard got the clearance to put it behind for the corner. Corner for City, taken short by De Bruyne. Savinho back to De Bruyne. De Bruyne with a cross, and actually turned into a shot, which was straight at Stolarczyk. And a simple catch for the Leicester keeper. Now we have a goal to tell you about elsewhere. It's come at Craven Cottage, and it's gone the way of the home side. Raul Jimenez with the goal has given Fulham the lead after that inspired comeback win away in the West London derby against Chelsea on Boxing Day. Fulham are leading Bournemouth at the moment. Fulham up to 6th as it stands. They would be behind Manchester City on goal difference at the moment with Fulham. Here's Bernardo Silva. Well closed down, but the foul is actually going to go the way of Bernardo Silva there. And a yellow card is going to come the way of Boubakary Soumaré. Yeah, it is a foul. I mean, Bernardo Silva's already... The ball's gone, but Soumaré does kind of clip him on the way through. And that's Boubakary Soumaré's 7th yellow card of the season. Quite remarkable how many yellow cards he's had. He's already faced a match ban early in the season. Of course, after this round of fixtures, the yellow card threshold for a match ban would go up to 10 yellow cards. And so Soumaré would have to teeter the line till the end of the season if he doesn't want another match ban. He's already on 7. It's Foden with a cross in. Soumaré again involved and blocking Akanji, and puts it behind for the corner. Does Boubakary Soumaré. Again, he had to go. Manuel Akanji, the threat in behind him, had to do something about it and put the ball behind for a Manchester City corner. Foden takes the corner short to De Bruyne. Back to Phil Foden, who will chip it to the back post. Haaland across and into the hands of the Leicester goalkeeper from that narrow angle. Again, straight off the training ground, that one. It's not too bad of an effort, but Haaland's shot well anticipated and well caught by the Leicester keeper. Soumaré getting away past Foden. Knife Mavididi into the half space for Buonanotte. Now out wide to El Canoose. Back to Facundo Buonanotte, who's charged down but fouled by Bernardo Silva on the edge of the Manchester City box, and it will be a free kick to Leicester. Yeah, Buonanotte, whether he meant it or not, the ball just bobbled up into the air as it came forward, and Bernardo Silva thought he could nick it. Ended up catching the player in Facundo Buonanotte, and Leicester have a free kick. Angle to the left side, around about 23 yards from goal. There's the 4-man City wall in the way. We've already seen a free kick at this end for Manchester City in the first half. De Bruyne had one hit right at the wall as Buonanotte and Jamie Vardy are in conversation as to what they'll do on this one for Leicester. Mavadidi's also in the conversations. See who's going to take it. Most likely to be Vardy, but we'll see. Vardy actually runs away. It's Buonanotte who will chip it around the back. Cody tried to keep it alive, but a botched kind of free kick that from Leicester. They tried to go for the sneaky one, but they caught their own players out in that sense. They do retrieve the ball though, do Leicester, but a botched free kick. Speaking of botched, there's been a big chance missed at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Heung-min Son from the penalty spot has had his penalty saved, and it could have been 2-1 to Spurs, but Jose Sa with a save on Heung-min Son's penalty has it still at 1-1, and Spurs missing a gilt-edged chance in that game to take the lead. It is still Spurs 1, Wolves 1. It would have been a great end to the first half for Ange Postecoglou's team, but in the end they come closer to half-time, still level. Those 3 o'clocks will be going to half-time any moment now, so we will have a few moments of a dead spell in those games. Here's Joshko Vardiol for the throw for City on the left-hand side. Kovacic back to Akanji. Now Ake into Kovacic. Bernardo Silva. Mateo Kovacic. Back to Akanji across the halfway line. So we hit the 60-minute mark at the King Power Stadium. It's Leicester 0, Manchester City 1. Savinho with his first goal for Manchester City has the visitors leading up in the Midlands. Kovacic trying to link it up with Savinho through the middle, but well, closed out by Leicester. And here comes Mavididi on the counter. Vardy's offside, but Mavididi doesn't want to find a pass yet, going himself as he plays it out wide now to El Khanous. Now Mavididi again. Vardy lays it back off to El Khanous, out to Christensen on the left. Bodies in the box here for Leicester. Christensen, kind of a chipped cross, well headed away by Ake. Still alive for Christensen against Lewis, and Victor Christensen is going to get a free kick. Yeah, it's good play by Leicester, really good play, and Christensen does well, knows that Lewis is going to get all handsy and just waits for the foul and gets the free kick in a good area here for the Foxes. City all hands on deck at the moment. El Khanous with the delivery, flick down to the back post, chip back across. Vardy into the mix off the line from James Justin there, who had the shots, and now Christensen has been absolutely bundled over as the last man, and a free kick will go Leicester's way. See this again, El Khanous with a delivery, back post, it's brought down. Cody delivers it back in. Vardy then heads across, and Justin just tries to flick anything at it he could, and it's cleared off the line by Manuel Akanji. Good opportunity for Leicester, but again, not finding anything in the finish. We have another goal that's tell you about at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which has just gone half-time. We'll get to that in a moment, because Leicester on the move again here. El Khanous down the left-hand side, drags Akanji out wide, trying to flick it in behind from Mavididi, who tried to do the same against Lewis, but well closed out by the City defence, who clear it away. As I was saying, third goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and after Heung-min Son missed the chance to give Spurs a half-time lead, well, Brennan Johnson steps up and he gives Spurs the lead. It is 2-1 to Tottenham at the break. Mavididi, Soumare. Leicester in a good spell at the moment, but they need to make this spell in the game count. They want to get something out of this game. Christensen. Sumari back to Victor Christensen. Sumari into Buonanotte, back to Christensen again. Out to El Canoose now. El Canoose waiting for the challenge from Foden and steps across him. Infield it goes. Sumari. We'll switch it out to Cody on the right hand side of the defence. Cody will chip one over the top trying to find Vardy. But again, Akanji had it well dealt with. And back to the City goalkeeper. Again, City give it away cheaply in the middle. Winks. Into Sumari, round the corner for El Canoose, and Vardy on the run at the back of the defender. Vardy across, far too much pace on that one as Mavididi tries to keep it in. He does keep it in. And Christensen battling, ball in behind Lewis again, who gets brought down in his own box there. Rico Lewis by Facundo Buonanotte, or El Canoose, sorry, it was, and he's going to get a yellow card. Is Bilal El Canoose. And a free kick. Manchester City were readying a substitute, by the way, in that moment, and they are now going to make that change. It's going to be James McAtee who's coming on very shortly here for Manchester City. So El Canoose getting that yellow card, just confirmation. And here is James McAtee waiting to enter the fray. Around about 25 minutes to go. It's Phil Foden that's going to make way. So his shot, that ultimately was parried by the goalkeeper, ended up giving City their opening goal. So directly involved in the opener is Phil Foden. And he leaves the field in replace of James McAtee, the 22-year-old Englishman. Was on loan last season away at Sheffield United. McAtee has played 2 Premier League games so far, but minimal minutes in those games. Well, Leicester have done everything really, really well right up until the final third. That's where they've lacked it today. Finding the goal, finding the back of the net. Their in possession play, their defensive holding, their defensive play has been really, really good. But when they get into the final third, that's where it seems to be a bit of a struggle for Leicester so far. They've got the threat, they've got the quality, just haven't been able to find the net today. Still around 25 minutes or so to go for them to change that. They're in their own box here with Stolarczyk, the goalkeeper. Winks. Now to Connor Cody. Leicester maybe eyeing up a few subs themselves in a moment or two. Cody back to Stolarczyk. Spun out wide to Christensen. City trying to apply a press, but El Canoose has got acres of space here. Rolls it for Sumari. Now Christensen on the run. The referee will play advantage as Sumari was fouled off the ball. Here's Mavididi. Mavididi with a cross in. Vardy! Oh, over the bar. Huge opportunity. Absolute wonderful ball by Steffi Mavididi. Spots the run of Vardy, and Vardy just kind of lifts his right leg up to try and tap it past the keeper. The pace is on the ball, and he just tries to flick it, but flicks it high over the bar. That is a huge opportunity for Jamie Vardy in those positions. More often than not, almost 9 times out of 10, the ball finds the back of the net. But on that occasion, got far too much on it, did Jamie Vardy. Not the right technique, and it ended up going over the bar. Goal kick. You just see this. There was a foul earlier. I did say the referee gave the advantage for Leicester as Sumari was fouled. He was fouled by McAtee. No card. for James McAtee, so that's not to worry. But Sumari is receiving a bit of treatment at the moment. As City are eyeing up another substitution here. Kyle Walker is ready and waiting to enter the fray and come onto the field. And it's going to be Nathan Ake that I think is going to be coming off here. So maybe some readjusting to go for City. So I'm guessing that they will put Joško Vardiol at centre-back and have Walker and Lewis as the full-backs. That's what I'm guessing is going to happen. We will see how it develops for Man City, as there's going to be a change here for Leicester as well. James Justin is going to make way, and coming on in his place is going to be Hamza Chowdhury. So Hamza Chowdhury on for James Justin for Leicester, and a City change that sees Nathan Ake replaced by Kyle Walker. So some interesting changes to the defence of both teams, with around about 20 minutes or so to go. And Man City leading, so I think Rico Lewis might go to left back, or to the left hand side. Walker is just giving out instructions to his team as he has come on here. Sumari's going to wait on trying to return to the field of play after receiving that treatment. It will be Stefan Ortega who is taking his time at taking this kick here, which has certainly not been liked by the home fans, as he kicks the long kick. Haaland was the one that got some sort of a touch on that one, and it goes all the way out for a Leicester throw on the left side. 20 to go then at the King Power. Leicester 0, City 1. A win for City would put them up to 5th in the table as it stands. They would be 4 points off top 4. With Forest winning at the moment, they would be 4 points off Chelsea in 4th with Manchester City. But the one interesting point to make is they are yet to have a shot in the second half, Manchester City. So if there's a goal coming, based on the stats and the stats alone, so far, another goal, the most likely place it will come is for Leicester, because City haven't had a shot yet in the second half. Long ball over the top, run by Mavididi, takes a first touch, and gets it stolen away from him by the City players, but the flag was actually up against Steffi Mavididi anyway, so free kick will come for City here in their own half. Kovacic to Vardiol. Now out to Bernardo Silva on that side. Here's Kyle Walker. Back to Akanji. Now Walker. De Bruyne. City keeping the possession again. They haven't actually kept possession well in this second half so far, Man City. They've actually had much less of it in the second half. They've actually been dominated possession-wise in the second. Leicester with over 68% of the ball. So doing to Manchester City what Man City usually would do to other teams in the Premier League. Don't forget, we have another game to come for you later this evening, in around about over an hour's time, as we head to the London Stadium, where league leaders Liverpool look to extend their lead at the top as they take on a West Ham side who would love a nice victory and to get them closer to that top half of the table at the moment. That's at 5:15 that game kicks off at. Nice turn by McAtee. Here is De Bruyne. De Bruyne out to Savinho. On the side, Savinho across. Haaland, 2-0. They didn't need to have too many shots when they have Erling Haaland up front. Manchester City always have a threat when they come forward. And with their first shot of the second half, they double their lead. And that's exactly the opposite of what Leicester would have wanted. And exactly what Pep Guardiola would have been desperate for in this second half. It all starts with Matchday. Wonderful, nice run down the right-hand side on the sideline. Plays it across to De Bruyne. He plays it into Savinho, who's been excellent all day down that left. Savinho curls the ball into the box. And Erling Haaland with the header to send it past Delarsik and double Manchester City's lead. You knew the next goal was going to be huge in this game. And I said, well, based on the stats alone, it looked like it was going to be a Leicester goal if it was going to come. But Manchester City, who have been second best in the second half, they're clinical when they come forward. And they have their second of the day. And that should really be a comfort zone now for City. Leicester 0, Manchester City 2. A bit of a cushion might just settle the nerves late in this game from what would have been nerves from the Manchester City fans. Leicester still alive here though. Soumare out to Mamadidi with a cross, but well cleared away by City. And they probably feel a bit buoyed by this at the moment then. And Haaland trying to make the run in behind again, but good covering by Connor Cody, sorry. And it will be a throw in to Manchester City actually. Home fans wanted a foul on Connor Cody there, but the assistant and the referee both agreed that it was just a throw-in for the visitors. It's not much of a foul in that, to be fair. Defender has to be stronger, in my opinion. Haaland does just what he needs to, really, there. Doesn't do anything too wrong. Doesn't do too much wrong, is a better way of phrasing that. McAtee. Haaland. Into the box it comes, Savinho. Headed wide. Will be a corner though. It might have took a deflection on the way through. There for Savinho. So it will be a Manchester City corner. 14 minutes or so to go. Leicester 0, City 2. Third would put the icing on the cake for City as they take the corner short. Here is De Bruyne to whip it in again. Back post. Away by Soumare. Kovacic to fizz it back in. Again, comes clattering out. But I think the flag would have been up anyway. There was an offside in the mix. So a free kick to Leicester. Couple of second halves getting underway in those 3 o'clock games for you. And we'll keep an eye on those games until we finish here. And then we'll have the full-time scores of all those 3 o'clockers when we're back on air for the late game between West Ham and Liverpool at around about just after 5 o'clock. So we will have the full conclusive results from those games for you in our second stream. But while we're on air now, we will keep you up to date with everything that happens right to the very end of the streams. Nice work by Buonanotte. Vardy now running in behind. Vardy into the box. Vardy, shot blocked. And the ball comes bouncing back off the City defender. Off to Vardy and behind for a goal kick. Well, a loss for Leicester would be, again, it would be 4 in a row for Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge. 4 defeats in 6 in charge of Leicester. They will be on 14 points, and as it stands, they will be a point off Wolves in 17th, 3 points off Everton in 16th, and 4 points off Crystal Palace in 15th. So they're still very much in the mix, Leicester, but they are in this torrid run at the moment of defeats. By the way, Stefan Ortega just got a yellow card for time wasting, so that's a booking for the City goalkeeper. First booking for a City player today in the game. Mavadidi. Christensen. Vestergaard, and now Cody. Oh, Haaland almost snatching upon something there, but his pressure gets De Bruyne on the ball. And now Savinho on the run. Savinho, cross into the box. Haaland was there, but couldn't get the direction on it. Goal kick. Again, Leicester causing their own problems there. Vestergaard getting in a muddle at the back. Haaland put pressure on him. He then kind of slid for it, Vestergaard. Played it straight to De Bruyne, who then ensued that City counter-attack. Ultimately came to nothing, but could have been a good chance. Here's Chowdhury for Leicester. Just over 10 minutes to go here at the King Power Stadium. Leicester 0, Manchester City 2. Before we leave you as well this afternoon in the final scores, we'll also give you an update from a couple of the other games from around the grounds. Some interesting results across England and Scotland today. Interesting scorelines around the grounds, so we'll certainly keep you up to date with those. El Khanous, nice 1-2 link up with Winks. El Khanous out wide to Chowdhury here. Chowdhury with the ball across and right through that 6-yard box again, but no one there to tap it home. Wonderful, nice link up in the midfield by Leicester. El Khanous, beautiful ball out to Hamza Chowdhury on the right hand side, free as a bird, and he just kind of strikes it right across the 6-yard box, waiting for a tap in, and the tap in didn't come. Went for a goal kick, but again, those threats from Leicester have been there all day, just haven't been anywhere near clinical enough. As here comes Haaland on the breakaway, well closed out by Harry Winks. They got the better of the Norwegian. El Khanous, Mavadidi, looking for an option. Mavadidi steps across McAtee. Now Winks, where to Chowdhury. Buonanotte, just about escaping the challenges there, and another challenge with a City player in Savinho. They wanted the foul there, City, but they'll get the throw as the ball goes out of play. Now the second half's underway in all of those 3 o'clock games now in the Premier League. All 4 3 o'clock games into the second period, so could be more goals on the way shortly. I'm sure there will be. There's Ortega under pressure from Vardy. Calm as you like, rolls it out to Bernardo Silva. Tries to flick it forward, does just about get it to Savinho, and then the foul by Buonanotte gives Manchester City the free kick. And the foul on Rico Lewis there. Well, for Erling Haaland, it is a big goal. It's his first since the last time Manchester City picked up a point on the road, when they drew 2-2 away at Crystal Palace. He got that, one of the goals in that game. He was on a 4 games without a goal for Manchester City. 3 in the Premier League and 1 in the Champions League in terms of games since he last scored. Haaland, and that's his 14th of the season in the Premier League, so the Golden Boot race is still very much on. At the moment it looks like it's between Salah and Haaland, but there's a splattering of other players just below those, all in double figures. So it's a widespread Golden Boot race this year in the Premier League, after a few years of it being Erling Haaland domination, really, in the Premier League. Another goal to tell you about that has come at Sellers Park. I said Southampton, I've said it multiple times, they need a win today, but Crystal Palace, they are desperate for a win themselves to take themselves away from the relegation fight, and that is how it's playing out at the moment. It is Crystal Palace 2, Southampton 1, Ebere Eze with the goal that has Crystal Palace ahead for the first time this afternoon, and a win for Palace would put them in, they would stay in 15th, but they would be 6 points clear of relegation as it stands, with Leicester losing and those other teams around them all not picking up the desired points. Here comes City though. Haaland lays it off to McAtee, who was angling towards that top corner, but it just goes wide in the end for the City substitute. Haaland angling that, or arcing that attack, and then the ball squared across, and McAtee trying to angle one to the top corner just wide. Goal kick. Right, so 2-0 to Manchester City. Leicester are going to make a couple of changes. We have another goal to tell you about from one of those other games. And I said two teams in Fulham and Bournemouth that are certainly battling for good positions this season. And they're showing that as a battle, because Bournemouth have just levelled the game in that one. It is Evan Nielsen with the goal that has Bournemouth back on level terms. It is Fulham 1, Bournemouth 1. A draw there would be see Bournemouth back in 6th and Fulham in 8th, where they both started the afternoon in those positions. Sorry, Bournemouth started the day in 6th. But yeah, 6th. Apologies. Nonetheless. So goals coming around the grounds. The only team that haven't scored from the 3 o'clockers, not to kind of commentators curse it, but 4 games and 7 of the 8 teams have scored. Everton are the only team yet to score that haven't scored so far this afternoon then in our 3 o'clockers. Leicester of course haven't scored here, so that's another to add to that list. Here's El Khanous down the right, Chowdhury with the ball in, flicked away by Vardiol. Still not giving up here, Leicester. Might feel if they get one goal they could probably squeeze another out of Manchester City's defence, but the defence of City determined to keep a clean sheet today. McAtee comes away with the ball. And about 4 minutes to go. Leicester 2 goals down at the moment. Well, in terms of away form coming into this one, Manchester City haven't had the worst away form. They were coming into this one, they were sitting before kickoff in 10th for in terms of away games this season. Won 3 of their 9 previous away games this campaign. Lost 4 and drawn the other 2. But a win today would put them up to 6th in terms of away form in the away table. On 14 points. Number of teams not doing incredibly well away from home, but City at the moment on course for what would be a huge result and a huge day for Pep Guardiola's team. It is his 500th in charge of Manchester City today, so it was always going to be a milestone, and a milestone he wants to remember for the right reasons this afternoon for Pep Guardiola. And it looks like at this moment in time that it will be heading that way for the visitors. Good thing is we haven't had to mention the mere villain of the VAR this afternoon. The referee was Michael Oliver. VAR has been Paul Tierney this afternoon, but we haven't had to mention him all afternoon because it's been a pretty clean and common affair, so not much drama on that front, which at times you do need a bit of a break from, because it does come quite often in the Premier League this season and in previous seasons. "90 seconds or so to go on normal time. De Bruyne gives it away in the midfield. Soumare, Buonanotte, back to Soumare, and out wide to Mavididi. Good move on here for Leicester. Mavididi down the left, tiptoeing his way forward, up against Kyle Walker. Mavididi goes for the cross to the back post, and Vardy with a looping header. Good save by Ortega. Had to make it. It was just dipping at the last second, the header. And Stefan Ortega had to get involved there. Had to just tip it. Actually, he doesn't tip it. Very deceiving angle, that. Just hits the crossbar. It looked like it came off the hand of Stefan Ortega, but it ultimately just came off the crossbar, so goal kick. Again, another good moment for Jamie Vardy that just goes a-begging. It's been common theme all day. Vardy's had quite a number of chances. That would have went down as his 5th shot of the day. He's had 1 on target, 2 off target and 1 blocked, and he's hit the woodwork as well this afternoon. Hit it again there. Substitution for Leicester then, late in the game here. So it is going to be Steffi Mavididi that's going to make way, and Will Alves will be coming on. He's an Englishman, so I'm not sure if it is Alves or not, but it is Alves, the 19-year-old for Leicester. Never know English pronunciations of surnames, but it is Will Alves that has come on for Steffi Mavididi. And we will have 5 added minutes at the end of the 90 here then at the King Power. So 5 more minutes to go of this one. Of course, don't forget West Ham Liverpool on the way. 5:15 kickoff. So we will be back for that one in around about an hour's time. Before we leave you this afternoon on this stream, we will round up the scores and what has happened so far in the Premier League. Here's Hamza Chowdhury though. Try to cut it back. No one there in the middle for Leicester again. Want it back again. Daka, who's just come on as well here for Leicester, gets involved. Chowdhury battling. And Buonanotte just committing a foul there. They did make a few changes there, Leicester. Caleb Okoli and Patson Daka have come on as well for Connor Cody and Harry Winks as of recently, so quite a few changes there for Leicester in the last few minutes. On the balance of the stats today, it's been a fairly even game, but the difference has been made when it comes to finishing. How clinical both teams are has been the difference. Leicester not so clinical at all, and Man City very clinical in the way that they've played today. So that's the difference at the highest level. If you want to compete, you've got to be clinical and take your chances when they come. And today, Leicester have been the epitome of not taking their chances. And that's why with 3 minutes to go, they find themselves 2-0 down, but in a very fairly even game, to be honest. Overall, on the balance of things. Lewis on the turn does really well to evade the challenge of Patson Daka, whose Leicester substitutes very desired in their approach to win the ball back, but not getting much success. Haaland trying to find Savinho. He will get onto it here, Savinho. Lays it off now to McAtee. Looking for options. Not desperate to go for the third goal, are Man City. They'll just manage this now. To the end, it seems. It would be time to call for player of the match. And for me, there's only one man that can get it today, and that's the man on that left-hand side for Manchester City, and that's Savinho. A lot of criticism since joining Man City, Savinho, of not really having the output, not really having the finishing, not really delivering on the field for City in the big moments. And today he has done exactly that. He got the opener when his chance came, get his first ever goal for City, and then set up the second with that wonderful cross into the box for Erling Haaland. He's been the difference maker today, has Savinho, and he gets player of the match for me, most certainly. Another goal from our 3 o'clockers to tell you about. And it has come at Goodison Park. I said Everton were the only team yet to score. Well, that's not changing, because it is now 2-0 to Nottingham Forest. It goes from better to even better to even better for Nottingham Forest at the moment. A second goal. And we're waiting for full confirmation on the goal scorer at the moment, but according to my screen, it is 2-0 to Nottingham Forest on the day. A win would see them up to second in the table before Chelsea and Arsenal play, and it is Morgan Gibbs-White with the second goal to double Nottingham Forest's lead at this point. Here's Chidre going for the cross, low one into the box. Vardiol to clear it away. Last minute of the game. Buonanotte. Sumari tried to flick it on, but well intercepted by McAtee. And Kovacic trying to stretch for one. Well cut out by El Canous. Now Buonanotte feeds it in behind for Christensen. Looking for options in the box. Crosses it in. And the Daka with a header. Just didn't get the connection on it. Comes off Lewis. It will go behind for a corner, but it's just maybe too little too late here for Leicester at this late stage. So a corner on this right hand side is Ruud van Nistelrooy and Pep Guardiola already have their arms around each other and already in conversation before the final whistle. Corner for Leicester. Into the box it comes, flicked on and gathered by Stefan Ortega, and that should be the end of the game. And there it is, the final whistle. Manchester City, for the first time since early August, have a clean sheet and a win on the road in the Premier League. It has been a long time coming. The last 8 away games, all without a win, and a big win in the Midlands gives them a big 3 points, and a much needed 3 points at this moment in time. Leicester, who held them all the way, kept them and competed all the way with City, but one thing they couldn't compete with was their deadly finishing from City today. Nice finish by Savinho for the first, Haaland with a header for the second. Leicester had many's a chance to get on the score sheet today, but their lack of clinical finishing was the letdown for the Foxes at the King Power. Final score at the King Power Stadium, it's Leicester 0, Manchester City 2. Big result for Manchester City, who needed that victory, and as I said, for the first time since August, the opening day of the season, they have kept a clean sheet on the road in the Premier League, and a 2-0 victory as it was against Chelsea on that very first occasion of the season. But for Leicester, it's a 4th defeat in a row for Ruud van Nistelrooy. It was always going to be difficult to beat Man City, albeit with City in this form, but it was always going to be tough if they couldn't finish their dinner. And they've shipped goals and haven't scored many in this run of 4 defeats in a row. And that is what has Leicester in the bottom 3. Not cut adrift. Still a few points in it for those teams above them. But they are in the bottom 3 as it stands. Right, before we leave you, let's round up where we are elsewhere. About 20 odd minutes to go elsewhere in those other 3 o'clockers in the Premier League. The latest scores, as you can see there. So Leicester, Man City is a final score. The other 4 games underway are all latest scores. Crystal Palace are leading Southampton by 2-1 in that one at Sellers Park. Trevor Chalobah and Aberi Eze on the score sheet for Crystal Palace. They both scored after Tyler Dibbling opened the scoring for the Saints, but it is 2-1 to Palace. Forest 2-0 up away at Everton. Everton in much need of a good result. They've had a few good results recently, but they would love to get a big 3 points at home. But it's Forest who are up to second with a win. They're leading by 2-0 our Forest. Chris Wood and Morgan Gibbs-White with the goals. Actually, Chris Wood got the assist for the second goal, so he's on fire today, scoring and providing. and setting them up. Raul Jimenez opened the scoring for Fulham at Craven Cottage. It is 1-1 at the moment because Bournemouth have levelled through Evan Nielsen in the second half, so it is still 1-1 there. And Spurs have led by 2-1 since the end of the first half. Hee-Chan Wang gave Wolves the lead inside 7 minutes. Bentancur with the equaliser. Son missed a penalty that was saved by Sa, but Brennan Johnson has given Spurs the lead, and that is the way it stands at the moment, with around about 20 minutes or so to go in all of those games. We will be back at around about 5 o'clock with the final scores of our game. That kicks off at 5:15 from the London Stadium as West Ham United take on league leaders Liverpool in East London. Join us for that one in around about 30 minutes or so time. Thanks for joining us for this one. Man City get a much needed 3 points on the road.